Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to cover NuTyX Linux. Go to distro watch real quick. NuTyX Linux is based on Linux from scratch. It's based out of Switzerland. Comes in all these desktops: Enlightenment, GNOME, ISWM, JWM, KDE Plasma, LXDE, Mate, OpenBox, Rat, Poison, and Xfce. And we'll come back to that. Oh, there's a lot to cover here. Let's see, here's their, I guess you'd call it their home page. Each one of these is a different link. So if we click on information, which was here, it'll open up this link. By the way, all the links I'm fixing to show you are right here. Very interesting. Under information, it lists their license, which is common, I would think. Packages used, and gives you a little brief description of the packages and the scripts, the installer, and how to get support through contacts, and introduces the team. We have a team of commendable and dedicated people who spend much of their free time keeping this project alive. And he lists Spiky, Guth or Guth, T-Nut. Come down honorary list of former contributors, you see Miyo. Miyo was a NuTyX ISO producer. Now, I believe that's our friend at MiyoLinux YouTube channel, and he has covered it. This is one of his favorite distributions, or it was. Probably still is. May not be using it, but NuTyX, I'm finding out, is a very interesting and seemingly great system here. I've been running it for a couple of days in a virtual box, and I've got it set up. Once we go through the installation, we'll look at mine that I've already got set up. List 10 benefits of NuTyX. Oh, let's keep going here. You click on the downloads right there, it'll open up this link. Scroll down a little bit, tell you about some of the images, rolling release. Here you can get your ISO, a base ISO, LXDE, LXQT, or LXQT, Xfce, the Enlightenment, Mate, GNOME, KDE Plasma. So you click on one of those, whichever one you desire. And the base is pretty interesting because once you get the base, you can install the base, and then from there you can be in more control about what software you install and how you make configure your system. All right, so we went to distro watch. It is active. It's ranked at 72, so it's in the top 100. Personally, I think after looking at it, it should climb. I say that about a lot of stuff, though. Again, if we click on documentation here, it'll open up this link. This will give you basically an installation guide or links to installation guides. And if you click on that one, it'll open up this, which is installation NuTyX script. And it gives you basically how to partition and format your disk. And if you'll notice, it does not do anything other than an EFI SDA3. You got SDA1, 2, and 3, EFI, swap, and root. But my system, I set it up with SDA4 as well. If you go on down, this is basically telling you how to do it from the command line. But the interesting part here, or the pertinent part for me anyway, was here, how to divide up my partition or my disk. All right, so finishing up the installation, this command right here didn't work for me either. I run it under normal user and with sudo privileges. It wouldn't work, not found. Anyway, if you go back to that base installation I just showed you, here gives you the command how to get different desktops, Xfce and Xfce4 extra, get Xfce4. And installing a login manager, you don't have to accept the default login manager. You can actually do your own. gives you some graphics drivers for Xorg or NVIDIA or VirtualBox. In my case, I'm finding that the VirtualBox video driver must be installed already. I did install the guest edition, and that made a big difference too. One of the biggest things on this page too, right here, if your computer has a touch screen, you're going to want this driver right here, Xorg-Xf86-input-WACOM, Wacom. And it also shows you some useful applications, which I've installed. In fact, GBFS and Unzip, I believe, came in by default anyway. NTFS-3G, Firefox is installed by default. Thunderbird, you can get it. It's not installed. Can get it. LibreOffice, Pigeon, and an assortment of other useful software that you might want to use. Base commands. This is a fairly good page right here because it does list how to use these things. Let's say you run an update and you've seen one of the updates was GCC. So instead of having to update your entire system, you can just go sudo cards install space -u, lowercase u, space, and then whatever that package name is. So you don't have to upgrade everything. If you have one that you want to hold back on, then you don't have to upgrade it. That's pretty neat. And you just card search, and then you don't have to be specific with the name. Like here, they use browser, which would list probably 8 or 9 different web browsers that would be available. I don't know that for sure. Sudo cards install Xfce4. Adding a user, very easy. You just bring up your terminal, and I'm assuming either sign in with super user or use sudo, and type in NU, new user, and then it's going to ask 2 screens just like there, and the initial setup, the name of the user, and then a description of the user. And it doesn't say anything about a password here, but you're going to want to give your user a password, I'm sure. Okay, and here's a link, version of 21.10 manual, and we're using 21.12, so it's not completely up to date, but it worked. Everything in here you'll see in your system. Let me scroll on down, trying to find something that I wanted to point out here. Port wireless access, you can now configure it. So you can go sudo setup -NuTyX space -CW to set up your network. IW config will show you your IP addresses and MAC addresses, setting up the name of your computer. All right, there was something in here I wanted to point out. Oh, here it's showing you how to add another drive. Or what I did was used a D drive, basically a data drive. Okay, here adding a swap partition or a file, so you don't even have to include a swap during the basic install. You can use a swap file. All right, and it tells you how to edit your FS tab in order to get that swap file finished. There was something more in here I wanted to point out, though. Command to nose. Sudo pkg-add and path to the package name. This is using ports with dependency management. So the port system, I haven't actually used it yet, but from what I've read and understand about it, it's very, very similar to ports in the BSDs. Go to the next page here. This is the latest news that would have been right here, news. And these are the improvements that they made in this new release. And a lot of kernel changes. What's up? Grub installation is now set up by default on an EFI machine. Automatic installation. bug fixes, installing NuTyX in the EFI mode on VirtualBox. And that's what I've done. I've used the EFI partition. Man, it's a lot to cover here. Here's a package list. Again, I think it's right here. Yeah. And you can go through here. You can actually search, or you can just, it's an alphabetical order. Like right off the bat, you get add way to icon theme. Fly through here. FFmpeg, I believe it comes in anyway. It may not. It seemed like when I was installing Hayden Live, I had to install that. Might be wrong. I might cut this part out. But as you can see, there's quite a few packages. And there's others that are not listed here. Xrandr. Alright, so let me minimize this. Let's go into my VirtualBox. Got it. This is the base right here with nothing done to it. Still has an ISO. And I cloned that. And then I've set it up right here. And you can see I've actually installed the VBox guest edition. So let's go through a default installation. Pick that up while that's booting up. We're going to go and just do normal. And you could go into a live environment, but we're going to bypass that real quickly. I've got it set up with 6 gigs about RAM, 2 cores of my processor. The boot EFI is enabled. I've turned the video memory all the way up. We're using the standard VM SVGA driver, and I've given it a 66.5 gigabyte hard drive. Minimize that. Drag this over here. We're going to find our country. Might have did that wrong. Page down. There's it. United States. And there's a little lag. So when you hit enter, don't do anything else. Okay, now we're going to do just whatever it wants to do. We're going to select install NuTyX and press enter. And so we're already up to 66%. You can see it's pretty quick. And the guest editions of the video VM drivers are installed. If I go in here and click and I just drag my mouse out, it comes right out. All right, is that my internet doing this? Shows it's working. Internet not flashing right there. Yeah, must be my internet. There we go. And it was setting up time zones and that kind of thing. It just rebooted. That will surprise you. So now we're going to set up our keyboard. I need to find US QWERTY is what I'm using. Enter a name. We'll just give it my name and the name of the user. Description type, capital Dennis, that's fine. Password, I'll have to do that twice, I believe. Okay, and there we are at our login. I'm going to press enter. Before I do, though, language, I thought I'd have another option. All right, back to password, press enter, good log in. And I believe we're going to have to do some more. Well, we didn't have to do anything. There's our system right there. See, we got volume out of the box. Turn it up. Audio mixer, I bet we do. Yes. Very nice. Practically the first thing I always check. I'll remove the battery there. Let's see what we did here with the partitioning. So we got the SDA1, which would be your EFI drive. It only give it 100 megs, very small. You give it 4 gigabytes of RAM. So I was reading on the internet that if you wasn't sure, you should double the size of your swap or memory, but it only allocated 4 gigs here. So whatever, we do have it. That is the point. installed everything we needed, grub and all that, right on SDA, and we're good to go. Let's see. It says we're using 299 megs and SDA3 formatted to Xfce4, 62 gigs. It used 3.7 gigs on a fresh install. Close out of that. Once you go through the panel here, we got our session menu, our clock, a notification, volume we just looked at, internet. Then these are your workspaces. I'm going to right click on the taskbar, I would call it. I'm going to say add new items. Let's see if we have the whisker menu, and we do. I'm not going to go ahead and add it now, but it's here. So that's telling you that by itself, under the default installation, it installed Xfce4 goodies. Let's see what we got in our menu. I'll tell you what, I'm going to close out of this. This was the default. This is a default installation. We saw that how it divided up the disk. And under most cases, I would say this was great. If you just have one disk and you don't want a data drive or partition allocated for data, I mean, it's giving you everything you needed. Everything. All right, let's close that out. And let's go to the other installation. Try to make this as quick as possible. And here, could remove this ISO. Do it wrong? No, I got it. All right. Let's see, this is for the custom install. Same setup, 6 gig of RAM, 2 cores processor, EFI. Now here, like I said, we're going to go straight into the normal mode, which should bring us into the installer, but you can boot into a live environment. Let's see, install live right here. We're going to go and just say normal. Normal is what most people would see, I would think. All right, same thing. We're going to be asked to find United States. This is always a little hard to see for me right here. Default fonts is lacking. All right, so we're going to go to advanced. This is the screen. A while ago, we just selected install and it went. So we're going to click advanced. First thing we're going to do is the keyboard. Let's go ahead and set that English US or US QWERTY. That works. Go back to advanced. Now it does not take you back to this screen, so you have to go down and click advanced every time. Partitioning. So we're going to use CF disk. This is EFI, so we're going to use GPT. New. It only allocated 100 megs for its EFI. We're going to go 512. Slide over to type. At the top there, it's EFI system. Arrow down for the new space. And we're going to give it a 6 gigabyte swap. Up one there, other type. And then down to new. We're going to divide this. Let's see. Let's give what we're going to call the root partition. Let's give that 32 gigs. Arrow down to new because we're finished with that. Leaves us 28 there. We're going to slide over to the right, hit enter, type in the word yes, and we're finished. I have seen it where it would say you had to redo it right there once, so you may have to just redo it. Actually, don't redo it, just go back and highlight right and rewrite it. Partition is good. Boot we're going to leave just like it is. We're going to format our partitions. Which partition do we want to format? We're going to select SDA3 to start with. Say yes. Everything will be erased. Okay. Go back to advanced. Back down here at format. Hit enter. This time we're going to select SDA4. And it's going to be formatted as ext4, which is fine. Now let's go back to advanced. And we got format and install. Now, We could set the clock and the time now, which we did just a minute ago. We could open up a console. We could erase the disk. If you was installing this over another installation, I'm assuming that's what that means. We could restart and go back to the main menu, but we're going to click on or highlight and press enter at install NuTyX SDA3. Do I want to continue? It's going to format SDA1 as VFAT. Do I want to continue? And you see how fast that jumped up to 66%? See if we can tell. Working off the ISO. See it flashing. Hard drive in use. What it's thinking is a hard drive. And about the time I decide to pause, it's going to be finished. I'll go ahead and bring up my notes here. And these are the links to all the pages we just went through. I'll make sure they get included. Miyo was a NuTyX ISO producer, and I can only assume that's MiyoLinux. If it is, peace, brother. Okay, we're through over here. Let me go back to this then. Figure the boot, we're going to say yes. We're rebooted. Why do we have to select our keyboard again? We already did that. Okay, now we're going to enter a name. We're going to say Dennis. I better take that capital out of there. And I'll say name of the user, Dennis. Nope, won't let me do that. Oh, add a description. We're going to say my PC. Okay. The name you enter is invalid. Name of the user, Dennis. Description of user, Dennis. Password for Dennis. Retype the password for Dennis. We're going to log in. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, though, I'm going to go back and see. Oh, we don't have the other option here. Let me log back in. I'll show you that what I'm talking about when we get back on the My. All right, so let's see how this busted the disk up. And you can see the SDA4 is there, but it's not mounted. Now you can do that manually. The sudo hard install GNOME disk utility. The GNOME disk and GNOME system monitor are both available. So that's going to be under accessories. I'll say disk. And we have our 71 gig hard drive right here. Going to go to system 4 and it's not mounted. So let's check. And we do have all of our documents and downloads, our folders. Let's see. Contents is ext4. So let's go and say mount it. There, take ownership, edit mount option. So user's session default, we're going to mount it at system startup, showing the user interface. But we're not going to require any other additional options there. We're going to say okay. All right, actually, I'm going to cancel out of that because I didn't change anything. So let's just close out of that. That's how you install using custom install or advanced options. Let's go to mine now. Let's click on that. Start it up. Now this one I set up exactly the same way we just did that last one. And I inserted the CD guest editions ROM. And I keep getting this little arrow right here, something to do with my init drc.conf. It's got something to do with those guest editions. All right. Click on there and give it my password. And like I said, I've been playing in this for a couple days now, off and on. I mean, it's not like I've been sitting here all day doing this, but I do have it arranged pretty much the way I want it or would want it. So under favorites, I've got disk, GNOME disk. We just saw that in the other installation. OBS Studio, Kden Live, Audacity, Simple Screen Recorder, GUVC View, and System Monitor, GNOME System Monitor. Under File System here, we got Xfce4 mounted to home. We're running 545 megabytes of RAM. CPU usage is just hardly anything. Let's close that out. Let's go to, now Audacity. Let's open up a terminal. And let's go find File Manager or iCards Package Manager. Now by default, Audacity is not going to be listed in here if that's the software that you require. By the way, this is the iCards Package Manager. You see how fast that just synced versus doing it in the command line here. Now cards is their package manager, so if you just type in cards with no arguments, you get all your options, flags that you can use. So cards config, cards create, deprecate, pins, depth tree, differences, files, help, info, install, level, list, purge, query. Let's see. I'm going to show you this real quick. Latpak space list, and we're going to see that I have Audacity installed. So even though Audacity is not installed by default or available by default, Flatpak is. So if you install Flatpak, you have those options to use to get those programs. Well, I went way past where I was supposed to be. Here's a simple command. Let me just pull this over instead of running them. I'll show you. And all this is on their website. So cards without any arguments will show you all the options. To sync your repos, which we just did using the cards, you just run sudo cards sync. To update the system, sudo cards upgrade. One I could run, I hadn't done that this morning. So Control-Alt-T, sudo cards, you would go sync. It's going to do the same thing that cards just did a while ago. I'll bring up there, cards, upgrade. It's going to check if we need any packages updated. Now, if it comes back with packages, its system is up to date. If it comes back, you can run sudo cards diff, and it'll show you the difference between what you have and what the upgraded version will be. And in other words, if you do a system upgrade and there's an update that you do not want to install, you can actually install sudo cards-u and then the package names that you want to upgrade, not even messing with the one that you did not want to upgrade. To search for software is very easy, just cards search. To install, sudo cards install. To delete, sudo cards remove. The GUI package manager is called iCards Package Manager. We just looked at that. Now, you saw the install as well as I did, and I never once got an option that I was aware of that allowed me to select my init system. I wanted to find out what init system I do have. So let's go sudo that space -proc or slash, I'm sorry, 1/exe, and we're going to grep that, or pipe symbol, grep to file with a capital E. Hit enter. Now the output of that is what we're looking for is sbin init. Now, that's what we got, sbin init right here. So that tells us we got a sysb init system. If you'd have got these, you'd have had a system D. If you'd have got this, you'd have had upstart. We're running sysb init. Yes, the sysb init system, which is fine, which is wonderful. Actually, you're not running system D. You don't have that to even worry about. And most of the programs that I wanted are installed. Here's a list. We can just look at the menu. qBittorrent is not listed, but transmission is. So if you need a torrent handler, most people do if they download ISOs, you'll need transmission. Real quickly, Kdenlive, Audacious, and the plugins, VLC, OBS Studio, GUVC View, Simple Screen Recorder, MPlayer, K3B, Bracero, Dead Beef, Cheese, Firefox, Chromium, GVFS, NTFS-3G, Unrar, Zip, Unzip, VirtualBox, OwlRiot, GIMP, Featherpad, Flatpak, Sound, Theme, Free Desktop, SM Player, Breeze icons, which you'll need for Kdenlive, PCman FM, and transmission. Now, in order to get Audacity or Krita, neither one of them are in their repositories. But if you install Flatpak, you can install Krita, Kdenlive, Blender, Flatpak's your thing, Audacity. And this is what I had to do in order to get Audacity, which is one of my prime software that I depend on. All right. And in the beginning of the video, we went over adding a new user. Command is just simply nu, which I'm assuming that's sudo nu. It doesn't say that, but that's what I'm guessing. And don't forget to do a password. Here's that software that you'll need if you have a touch screen. Let's do a search. Xorg Xf86 input Wacom. See what it shows up. Yep, tablet drivers, and that's actually showing 3 of them. No, the development package as well as the man page. So if you have a touch screen, you're going to need that. Now, if your clock is wrong, and I'm laughing because people that know me know I mess with my clock, and I hadn't had a chance to actually customize this one, but I will because it's the Xfce standard plugin. If your clock is wrong, you can run this command, sudo space setup -NuTyX space -cc, and you can run through and set your time and time zone if it's ever wrong. All right, so one thing I did have to do, and you can see right here, there's a folder here called on my desktop called shared folder, as well as on I renamed this so I could drag it back if I wanted to. On my desktop is shared. I just grabbed that and dropped it over here, and there it is there. Like I said, I renamed it. But in order to get that to work, go in devices here, enable drag and drop, enable shared, and give it a shared folder settings. It's not listed here. I'm not sure why. Well, I don't have to worry about it right now because I already got it there. That's what I had to do in order to pull this over and drag and drop it here. There's a VBox guest editions. I could probably, I was going to say I could probably hide that. In order to get that to work though, the drag and drop, this is what I had to do. So you go to your devices menu in your VirtualBox and you say insert guest edition CD image. When you click on that, it's going to drop it right here. Once you get here, you open up a terminal. And I suppose you could open up a terminal anywhere and just navigate to here. And I wouldn't swear you even had to go to here. But here's the command right here. Sudo sh space period / and this has to be identical far as caps go. Linux editions, period, run. And once you press that, once you press enter here, you'll get a dialog window that comes up, and you run through that and you have your guest editions. Once that's done, you can reboot and be able to drag and drop. I got it on my desktop. I'm assuming from anywhere you could drag and drop. So you can see the guest editions. Let me go right control F. You can see full screen without having to mess with anything. So let's look at my menu real quick. Tell you what, this is one awesome operating system. I think it is. Let's go back, open up System Monitor. See what we're using even after playing around in it for a while here. We got OBS Studio, Kdenlive, Audacity. I showed you how to get that, or told you how to get that. Yeah, I showed you. Simple Screen Recorder, GUVC View, System Monitor. We got GNOME Disk, FeatherPad, PC-Man FM, which is right here. Task Manager, X Archiver, that came in by default. Development, we got the Qt5 stuff, and like Miyo said, not very many people use that, but it is there. Here's a game I installed, outright, the Solitaire. I want to show you this. You hear that sound? Sound works right out of the box I'm talking about. So that was games. We got graphics. I got GIMP and the Restrato image viewer, and I hadn't installed Krita from Flatpak yet, but I'm going to. In fact, I may even put this on real hardware. That's how impressed I am with it. Chromium was available. Firefox came in by default. So did Telegram Desktop and Thunderbird. Under multimedia, now here I've added quite a bit. We got Audacious with plugins. Audacity is a Flatpak. Receros, Cheese. This is the stuff I just read. Most of it I installed. I have not installed a Office program yet, but probably will. Under settings, this is going to be everything that would be right here in your settings panel. System, we got file PC-Man FM, file cards. Gparted, that come in by default. Just because I haven't opened it up yet. Do that, but okay. And there's our four partitions. SDA4 being mounted on SDA home or /home. All right, back to here under system, Gparted, sensor view. That's a nice, it probably won't work accurate in a virtual box. Thunar, let's see, now I also installed, I think I did, HTOP. I did not. Sudo cards install HTOP. Close this out. Now let's run HTOP. And according to HTOP, we're only using 373 megs of RAM. Like I said, phenomenal. You know, close that, please. If it's got the things you need, why not use it? Like, I don't know about Linus, the security program, would report on it, but I think that you would be in pretty good condition. I'm impressed with this. I'm probably more than likely going to put it on real hardware and run with it. If one of these other machines crash out, whether FreeBSD, Void, Arch, not Arch, take that off that list. FreeBSD, Void, or Linux Mint, either one of those machines just crash out on me, I think I'm looking at my next install right here. Well, I'm going to get out of, well, I don't have to get out of full screen, but video's probably getting on pretty long there. I'm going to go ahead and just shut down. Get out of full screen now, I guess. Now, when I did insert those CD guest editions there, I started picking up these errors, and I know it's got something to do with there because it definitely wasn't doing that before. Okay, there's a video. NuTyX Linux. One awesome sleeper program. Why is it only 72? 72. Man, there is a ton of distributions that this is better than. Who knows? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Peace out, guys. I'm gone. Enjoy NuTyX. Bye.